I accompanied my boyfriend Ethan to his first love's wedding, but the groom didn't show up. To spare his childhood sweetheart from embarrassment, Ethan stepped onto the stage to replace the groom. As one of the 4 young masters of Beijing and an outstanding young entrepreneur, Ethan successfully salvaged his childhood sweetheart's lost face. The two exchanged "I do" amid the emcee's congratulatory words, their eyes filled with lingering affection, as if this had always been their wedding. Everyone was amazed by the bride's charm, but I crushed my wine glass under the stage and downed a bottle of baijiu. When I woke up, I saw the naked man beside me, his broad-shouldered and narrow-waisted body covered in bruises and bite marks. I raised my hand to cover my face. What have I done? I actually slept with Adrian, the head of Beijing's 4 young masters who never gets close to women. And I left him in this state. Awake? The man's deep voice sounded. I jolted. I'm not a casual person, the man said in a slightly hoarse voice. I'll take responsibility. An hour later, looking at the bright red marriage certificate in my hand, I was a bit dazed. At that moment, my phone rang. It was Ethan. I casually hung up the phone. Ex-boyfriend? Why not answer? Adrian's cool eyes glanced at me. I shivered and blurted out, I'll answer later. Oh? He took off his jacket and draped it over me. Mrs. Arya, you're a married woman now. His voice was faint, but I detected a warning, and a hint of jealousy. I looked up at him in some astonishment. There are some urgent business matters abroad to handle. I'll probably be there for 2 to 3 months. Here's the key to my house. When I return, we'll hold the wedding. After saying that, he got into the Kian that had been waiting by the roadside and left. Why did it feel like there was a bit of reluctance in his gaze? I shook my head. It must be that I hadn't sobered up yet and misread it. The phone rang again. I slid to answer, and Ethan's voice came through. Arya, why are you so petty? I just couldn't bear to see Selena embarrassed, and you actually hung up on me? Seeing that I didn't speak, he added, Selena grew up with me, she's like my sister. In yesterday's situation, I couldn't ignore her. I glanced at the marriage certificate in my hand. Ethan, you don't need to explain to me, we broke up yesterday. After saying that, without giving him a chance to erupt, I hung up. I opened the short video Selena had just sent me. She was half naked from the waist up, and Ethan was passionately kissing her fair neck. The groom had run off, and Ethan even consummated the marriage in his place. Even with ample psychological preparation, I still felt a heart full of bitterness. I wiped away my tears. Oh well, from now on, we're strangers anyway. I took a taxi back to the Lin family home to pack my things. Standing at the door of the large apartment, I entered the password several times, but it kept prompting errors. The alarm sounded, and the door was opened from inside. Sister Arya? Selena appeared at the door wearing my silk camisole. Brother Ethan specially cleared the previous fingerprints and changed the password to my birthday to make me feel at home. Oh, the password is... No need to tell me, I won't come back in the future. I said coldly. Ethan heard the noise and came over, his voice full of sarcasm. Didn't you just say on the phone that we were breaking up? Back so soon? Brother Ethan, don't say that about Sister Arya, she's already unhappy because you changed the password. Selena blinked her innocent eyes and tugged at Ethan's sleeve. You're still so understanding, it's just a password, what's there to mind? Ethan looked at her, his voice softening, and he reached out to adjust her slipped strap back to her shoulder, casually pinching her chest. Selena instantly blushed and quickly stepped aside. Sister Arya, come in first. Acting like the lady of the house. Watching their shameless interaction, I swallowed the bitterness in my heart. I'm here to pack my things, it'll be quick, I won't disturb you for long. Is Sister Arya saying this because she doesn't like me being here? Then I'll move out. Selena said and was about to pack her things. Ethan stopped her, turned to me impatiently. Arya, I've told you, Selena is just my sister. That heartless Leo abandoned Selena at the wedding, and he even changed the home password. Selena had nowhere to go, so I brought her back. Nowhere to go? Can't she go back to her parents? I couldn't help retorting. How can she go back to her parents? The neighbors all know she got married, returning to her maternal home on the wedding day without the groom. How would others see her? Ethan looked at me incredulously, as if my idea was utterly unreasonable. You sure consider her thoroughly. I mocked myself with a smile. Ethan, the whole circle knows we were about to get engaged, yet you let go of my hand in front of everyone and turned to marry Selena. Have you thought about my feelings? Have you considered how others would see me? Ethan was somewhat guilty when I asked, what do you mean turn to marry her? I just couldn't bear to see Selena betrayed. She's so delicate and weak, unlike you who's so strong and independent. Those rumors won't hurt you. Once the storm passes, we'll get engaged. I gave a bitter smile. Just because I'm strong and independent, I deserve to be abandoned? Sister Arya, don't be angry, you haven't eaten yet, right? Brother Ethan just made dinner, come sit and try it. Selena said and came over to pull me. Only then did I notice that Ethan was wearing an apron, holding a spatula for stir-frying. On the table were 4 dishes and a soup. In our 3 years together, Ethan had never cooked for me once. Occasionally when I coquettishly wanted to taste his cooking, he always dismissed me with a gentleman stays away from the kitchen. My stomach isn't good, I can't eat takeout, and the maid auntie is on leave. These are all Brother Ethan's on-the-spot learning, though the appearance is average, the taste is not bad. Try it quickly. Selena said and handed me the chopsticks. I ignored her, bypassed her to go to the bedroom to pack some clothes, opened the bedroom door, and a glaring red froze me in place. The bed was covered with the bright red bedsheet I had carefully selected, the pillows were the mandarin ducks playing in water that I had embroidered myself. A large joy character was pasted on the headboard, and even the dressing table had the custom wedding candles I had specially ordered burning. Who allowed you to touch my things? I finally couldn't hold back and shouted at Selena. I've always liked classical things. I feel that burning red candles all night on the wedding night is very romantic. Now red veils are no longer popular, so in my spare time from work, I embroidered 2 pillowcases. Now, these things I had carefully prepared were messily spread on the bed, hinting at how intense last night's battle had been. Back then, when Ethan couldn't resist me and accompanied me to prepare these, his eyes were full of indulgence. All right, little ancestor, whatever you say. The sweet words still echoed in my ears, but alas, things had changed. Ethan awkwardly touched his nose. Last night Selena was too heartbroken, so I set up the bridal chamber to cheer her up. We didn't. It's my fault, I seduced Brother Ethan. Sister Arya, if you want to blame someone, blame me. Selena interrupted him, suddenly blocking in front of Ethan with a resolute expression as if facing death. Ethan, who originally wanted to say nothing happened, looked at her in astonishment. Ultimately, the protective instinct aroused by Selena overcame his shame, and he pulled her behind him. It was me, I couldn't help myself. Arya, you don't know, last night's situation, that atmosphere. Selena blushed and said cautiously, Brother Ethan and I were very careful last night, we didn't dirty anything. You can still use them when you get married. Ethan chimed in, didn't they give a small one as a gift when buying the wedding candles? We can use that in the future. Why should I use the giveaway for my wedding, using your second-hand goods? Selena ran to the bedhead, picked up the pillow to show me. Sister Arya, look, we covered it with a pillow towel last night, really didn't dirty it. I looked at the large stains on the pillow and felt a wave of nausea. Is she blind? Oh well, since the things I cared about most have been ruined, I don't want the others either. I stepped back to leave, she followed forward and accidentally knocked over the red candle on the dressing table. Ah! My foot. I looked down, a drop of candle wax had dripped on her foot. Ethan heard the cry, pushed me aside, picked up Selena, and walked out. So, he could be this nervous about others too. Once when I had gastroenteritis, my stomach hurt so much my face turned pale, and he held me nervously like that. Tears slid down my face, a sharp pain came from my hand. The candlestick had just cut a long gash on my hand, blood overflowing, red and glaring. The candle flame ignited the hanging bedsheet, the fire was about to spread. I lifted my foot to stamp it out. The room was a mess, just like my relationship with Ethan. Selena, having treated her burn, hurried back, seeing the bedroom scene, her eyes reddened. Brother Ethan, am I destined not to find happiness? Abandoned on my wedding day, luckily you appeared like a god to save me. Now the bedsheet is burned, the red candle extinguished, is this a sign that you'll leave me too? As she spoke, tears flowed freely like they cost nothing. Ethan Heartache hugged her in his arms, softly comforting, I'll never leave you. Completely ignoring that I was still there. Watching their affectionate display, I sneered, bypassed them to leave. I shouldn't have come on this trip. Perhaps my expression was too resolute, a flash of panic crossed Ethan's face as he reached out to pull me. Arya, don't go, I just now was only. In the tug, my bag fell to the ground. Selena quickly picked up the marriage certificate that had fallen. What's this? When I reached to snatch it back, she agilely jumped aside. Seeing the certificate holders were Arya and Adrian, she covered her mouth with a light laugh and handed the marriage certificate to Ethan. Ethan glanced at it, and the panic on his face was replaced by sarcasm. Arya, so this is what you were waiting for? If I hadn't pulled you just now, how were you planning to let me see this? He thought I had deliberately shown it to him. He took the marriage certificate, examining it left and right. I have to say, it's forged quite well. It must have been hard for you to find such a seller. You were out all night last night forging this, right? Arya, forging documents is illegal. Selena reminded me. Moreover, even if you want to make brother Ethan nervous, at least Photoshop a more reliable person. Adrian, the head of Beijing's 4 major families. Arya, you really dare to dream. Moreover, Adrian went abroad yesterday afternoon, the day before my wedding with Leo. He sent a congratulatory gift, saying he wouldn't attend the evening banquet. How could he get a certificate with you this morning? Selena tried hard not to laugh out loud, as if I were a joke. No wonder Adrian seemed in a hurry this morning. Adrian is famously averse to women, he hates rumors the most. Last time a female celebrity deliberately got close to him for a photo and posted it on Facebook, Adrian in anger cut off all her resources. As Selena spoke of this, a trace of fear flashed on her face. Had she also planned to seduce Adrian? Arya, your uncle and aunt kindly adopted you and even groomed you as their successor, don't drag them down. Mentioning Adrian, Ethan's face seemed a bit wary. Yes, Adrian is famously the cold-faced Yama, he acts decisively, and with a flick of his finger, he can make the He family fall out of the 4 major families. While no one has discovered this yet, quickly destroy this fake certificate. Selena kindly reminded me. No need for you two to worry. I snatched back the marriage certificate and walked out. Arya, if you want to court death yourself, don't drag us down. Ethan shouted furiously behind me. Even if you really got certified with someone else, I don't care. He added viciously. I slammed the door shut, isolating this pair of scum inside. Recently, my uncle handed me a subsidiary to practice on. With busy work, I threw Ethan's matter to the back of my mind. Ethan hadn't contacted me either, he was busy honeymooning with Selena. I blocked Selena and Ethan, fully immersing myself in work. While signing a contract with a client and writing the date, I was startled. After seeing off the client, I hurriedly bought a pregnancy test stick. As expected, it showed 2 clear lines. My mood was complicated. I decided to go to the hospital for a blood test to confirm, in case the pregnancy test was wrong. While waiting for the results, I ran into Ethan and Selena. Ethan looked disdainful. Arya, you're really lingering like a ghost. What, couldn't stand being ignored for a month? Chased all the way to the hospital. Selena carefully protected her belly, tugging at Ethan's sleeve. Brother Ethan, don't say that, Sister Arya just misses you too much and came over. I posted on Facebook yesterday about coming for prenatal checkup today, so Sister Arya could see it. I thought you blocked me. Blocked? Just putting on an act, who knows how many alternate accounts you're using to spy on our lives. Ethan's tone was full of disdain. Prenatal checkup? I ignored Ethan's sarcasm and caught the key point in Selena's words. I'm pregnant, just 1 month, it's brother Ethan's. Selena blushed and said softly, leaning into Ethan's arms as she spoke. Ethan carefully protected her, coldly saying to me, "Since you know, go learn how to be a postpartum nanny." Selena doesn't trust outsiders. If you serve her well during confinement, I can still consider marrying you. I looked at him in astonishment, as if looking at a fool. Does he know what he's saying? At that moment, my test results came out. Sorry, I can't serve, I'm pregnant too. What? Ethan stepped forward and snatched my test results. After seeing clearly, his face darkened. 4 weeks pregnant? Arya, are you that thirsty? Ethan roared. He had been celibate for Selena, hadn't touched me for over half a year, so the child couldn't possibly be his. Selena covered her mouth. Sister wouldn't have gone to find some random man on the day brother Ethan and I got married, right? Brother Ethan loves you so much, how could you betray him? Selena looked indignant, as if she were some hero upholding justice. Looking at them, I just felt exhausted. I already knew the results. If he likes the report, he can keep it. I turned to leave. Ethan stepped forward and grabbed me. Don't go, explain clearly, what's with the child? At that moment, a tall figure suddenly stepped forward and punched Ethan in the face. My wife is pregnant, why explain to you? I turned to look. Adrian? Wife, sorry, I'm late. Adrian looked travel-worn. Weren't you going for 2 or 3 months? Why back so soon? I missed you too much, so I worked overtime to finish things. What wife? Explain clearly. Ethan stepped forward, glaring at Adrian. Adrian ignored him, lowered his head to look at me. What, you didn't tell your ex-boyfriend we got certified? Could that certificate be real? Selena reacted first. So, Sister Arya, you really betrayed brother Ethan? Her big eyes were full of incredulity, seeming to heartache for Ethan. What do you mean betrayal? Miss Selena, don't talk nonsense. Arya and Ethan broke up at your wedding. He married you, Arya married me, where's the betrayal? Adrian's voice was faint, yet it revealed an aura of superiority. Selena unconsciously stepped back. The breakup is just Arya's one-sided statement, I never agreed. Ethan argued. If not broken up, why didn't you go find Arya after the wedding? And continued to consummate and honeymoon? Adrian threw out a stack of photos. The photos showed the two in bright red shoha dresses, drinking cross-cupped wine in front of dragon and phoenix wedding candles, deep affectionate kisses, and various recent honeymoon scenes. I sneered, so my shoha dress locked in the cabinet was also taken out and worn. Ethan's face paled as he looked at Selena. I just posted on my alternate account, to tell myself that I too am loved. After saying that, her eyes reddened again. This time Ethan didn't comfort her. I glanced at the photos of their honeymoon travels, Dutch windmills, Hawaiian beaches, Arctic auroras. They had toured the globe. Ethan is someone with extremely strong career ambitions. Previously when I begged him to go out with me, he always excused himself as too busy. Turns out it wasn't busyness, just didn't want to go with me. Fortunately now, I no longer care about these. Arya, listen to my explanation. I just saw Selena too sad and took her out to relax. Such a pale reason, even he didn't believe it when said. Let's go, the elders from both families know we're married and are anxious to see us. Adrian carefully supported me, as if I were some rare treasure. Arya, do you think Adrian really loves you? He's just after the He family behind you. Ethan suddenly shouted behind me. Brother Ethan, look at this. Selena handed the phone to Ethan. Haha, the He family's biological daughter has been found, you'll soon be kicked out of the house. Do you think the Shin family will still accept you? After looking, Ethan let out a manic laugh. I slightly frowned, turned back to look at him. What biological daughter? I've never heard that my uncle and aunt had a child. Ethan handed the phone to me. It was a message from the He Corporation's official website, saying the biological daughter was to recognize her ancestors, and a banquet would be held in a week to introduce her to everyone. Looking at Ethan's smug villainous appearance, I looked at Adrian in confusion. Let's go back and see first. Adrian held my hand, his gaze gentle. I love you as a person, never your surname. His voice had a reassuring power. Nearby, Selena clenched her fists, her face full of jealousy. Watching us leave, Ethan shouted furiously behind, Arya, after being abandoned, don't come back begging me. A week later, the recognition banquet was held as scheduled. Uncle and aunt were busy greeting guests, I was strolling in the banquet hall. Sister Arya is really carefree, still in the mood to eat. When Selena, arm in arm with Ethan, gracefully approached me, I had just picked up a delicate small cake. You've occupied the magpie's nest for so many years, when the He family heiress returns, she definitely won't tolerate you. Beg me now, and I'll consider letting you be a mistress. Ethan had a villainous face. Looking at him like this, I doubted myself, how did I fall for him before? That night after returning from the hospital, I unexpectedly received a message from Selena. Don't think brother Ethan's performance today means he loves you, listen to this. I opened the recording she sent. It was a conversation between her and Ethan. Brother Ethan, since you don't like sister Arya, why still be with her? The He family is one of Beijing's 4 major families. Only by allying with the He family can our Lin family quickly secure the top position among the 4 major families. Once the goal is achieved, Arya will be at my disposal. What is Adrian? By then, he'll have to crawl at my feet. Ethan's voice was full of ruthlessness. See, this is the real reason he was with me. He kept hurting me for Selena, relying only on my love for him. Now learning that the He family's biological daughter is to be retrieved, naturally I'll be abandoned by him. His pursuit of me back then was just a conspiracy. I met Ethan at an entrepreneurs conference. After graduation, he took over the family business. That time, he even spoke on stage as Beijing's outstanding young entrepreneur. His comprehensive and forward-looking speech secured several orders on the spot. I came to the meeting with my uncle and found myself drawn to him too. My uncle introduced me at the gathering, mentioning that he and his wife had no children and that their entire estate would eventually be inherited by their niece, Arya, that is, me. After that day, Ethan began pursuing me relentlessly. We ended up together. Uncle didn't approve of him, saying although capable, he was too eager for quick success, and his actions seemed unscrupulous. Sooner or later he'd suffer a big loss. I didn't listen, thinking young people should be spirited and forge ahead. Facts proved Uncle was right. I pulled back my thoughts, looking at the smug pair in front. I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. The guests had mostly arrived. Uncle and aunt called me over. A week ago, when I returned home from the hospital, they had already told me the truth. The two held my hands, faces full of kindness. The words they said were like a bolt from the blue, stunning everyone present. Arya is our biological daughter. Seeing the shocked gazes, Uncle explained, Arya had a serious illness as a child, almost didn't make it. Her mom and I, in desperation, consulted a master. The master said her fate was too weak, she couldn't call us mom and dad, needed to change the title, then she could grow up safely. She could change back after marriage. Now that Arya is married, naturally she can. Holding this banquet is to inform everyone that Arya is the legitimate heiress of our He family. Dad emphasized this because from childhood to now, in Beijing, there were always people mocking me, saying it was just because uncle and aunt had no children that I, the niece, got the bargain. Mom and dad looked at me gratified, as if my safe growth was really due to calling them uncle and aunt. Married? Someone asked doubtfully. Everyone remembered that a month ago, at Selena's wedding, I was abandoned by Ethan. How could I find a new partner so quickly? Ethan, being stared at by everyone, had a pale face, standing stiffly in place, not yet reacting to my dad's words, only murmuring repeatedly, how is that possible? Arya and that Lin family kid were just kids playing around, they were never together. Dad waved his hand dismissively. Our family's son-in-law has always been Adrian. Come over quickly, let everyone see he's prized son-in-law. Dad beckoned to Adrian who had just entered. There was a collective gasp in the crowd. Didn't they say Adrian doesn't like women? Yes, for so many years, even his secretaries are male. The He family climbing the Shen family, Beijing's four major families' position will be even steadier. Someone in the crowd whispered. Adrian walked over and embraced my waist. I pursued Arya for over a decade, now finally got my wish. Arya is excellent herself, doesn't need to rely on anyone. The He family will stand firm in her hands, not to mention she snatched multiple projects from me. In a few words, he placed me in a high position. Suddenly, I felt marrying him wasn't bad. Arya is just pregnant, I'll take her down to rest first. Adrian politely nodded to the surrounding people, got mom and dad's approval, and was about to take me away. Wait. Ethan spoke with a pale face. Nearby Selena anxiously tugged his sleeve, but he shook her off. Arya, how can you abandon our 3 years of relationship just like that? If not for you being pregnant with Adrian's child, how would I have abandoned you at Selena's wedding in a fit of anger? Ethan turned the tables. I don't mind whose child you're pregnant with, come back to me, okay? Let's not fight anymore. Ethan said with tears streaming, as if he were the one betrayed. The crowd looked at me with contempt, as if I really abandoned him to climb higher branches. Although the Lin family can't compare to the Shen family, it's still one of Beijing's 4 major families. Ethan is a young talent. The He family doing this is too underhanded. Someone spoke for Ethan. Even if Dad denied my thing with Ethan, those present were all shrewd. How could they not know we dated for 3 years? Mom and Dad turned black with anger on the spot. I was almost amused by Ethan's shamelessness. Adrian's gaze was grim, coldly staring at Ethan. Do you know why Leo didn't appear at his wedding with Selena? Panic flashed on Selena's face. Adrian waved his hand. The big screen in front of the hall showed blush-inducing scenes. Selena and Ethan kissing passionately in a grove, Selena half-naked, panting, "Brother Ethan, I only have you in my heart. Marrying Leo was forced by my parents. I've never let him touch me. I know, we grew up together, I naturally understand you. After marriage, remember to occasionally bring me the business secrets of both families. Once the Lin family becomes Beijing's largest, we can be together forever." Ethan responded, but his hands didn't stop, provoking Selena's coquettish cries. "Brother Ethan, be gentle, don't let others discover." The following sounds were unbearable. Adrian cut the screen. "Slut, you're quite wanton in bed, saying you've never let me touch you." Leo, who had disappeared for a month, suddenly appeared. "To show loyalty to me, you even revealed the Lin family's bid bottom to me, saying you only have me in your heart. You just want to eat from both houses." Leo's eyes were bloodshot. "But our Liang family got here by strength, disdained such acts." Looking at Leo's heartbroken appearance, he probably really loved Selena once, pity she ruined it all herself. Selena crawled over and hugged Leo's leg. "No, it's not like that, Leo, it was all Ethan forcing me. My family is just a small supplier to the Lin family. If I didn't do this, he'd terminate cooperation with my family. I was forced." "Slut, full of lies, aren't the orders from our Liang family few? Clearly it's your greed." Ethan stepped forward and kicked Selena in the stomach. "When did I threaten you? Every time, wasn't it you crying and voluntarily coming to me? I just went along." Saying that, he walked toward me. "Arya, it was all her seducing me. I'm a normal man, I suddenly felt nauseous. Adrian quickly supported me. "Security, drag them out." With this commotion, Ethan and Selena couldn't mix in Beijing anymore. A banquet almost turned into a farce. Luckily Adrian stabilized the situation. A month later's wedding, Adrian prepared an antique style. The bright red shoha dress was embroidered with gold thread, the round fan even handmade by him. Various items were all carefully prepared by him. Mom and Dad teased me, heard Adrian research the marriage rituals of princesses from various dynasties. But our Arya is originally Arhi's little princess, credit to him for the thought. I blushed amid Mom and Dad's teasing. So this is what being loved feels like. One morning after marriage, I woke up in Adrian's arms, suddenly realizing something. "Adrian, tell me, weren't you investigating Ethan and Selena early on?" Adrian pretended to sleep. "Weren't you plotting against me for a long time? deliberately sending those videos to Leo the day before the wedding? Making him run away? I shook him. I know you're awake. Adrian rolled over and hugged me. What do you mean plotting for a long time? Leo grew up with me. I couldn't watch him be deceived. Even if I was plotting, if Ethan had firmly held your hand that wedding day, I'd have no way. He looked innocent. Even if Ethan hadn't replaced Leo that day, I'm afraid you had backup plans. I glanced sideways at Adrian, only now discovering how cunning he is. My wife knows me best. You're the one I've kept in my heart for over a decade. How could I watch you jump into the fire pit? Over a decade? Little heartless one, in junior high when you were targeted by some punks, I escorted you home every day, don't you remember? Hearing this, I smiled awkwardly. Adrian had a strangers keep away demeanor since childhood. Back then he followed me every day. I thought I had offended him, so after school I ran home fearfully every day. As for the punks, I didn't notice them, probably scared off by him. Later, when the Shin family expanded overseas, I planned to confess my feelings once the market stabilized. But Ethan beat me to it. His voice was filled with disappointment as he said this. I felt an inexplicable pang of sympathy. If he treated you well, fine, but after getting you, he dared to be fickle. Then don't blame me for snatching you back. So that night you took advantage of my drunkenness. I said deliberately sadly. Unexpectedly, he immediately sat up from the bed, seriously saying, I didn't intend to take advantage, it was you hugging me, crying and laughing, rubbing snot and tears all over me. I had to take off my clothes, then you hugged me, biting and gnawing, even tugging my pants, and… Ah. Stop. Stop. I pounced to cover his mouth. I only had fuzzy memories of that night, just remembering I forcefully stripped his clothes, pushed him onto the bed. It's all that bottle of baijiu's fault. I tried to make excuses. I'm quite grateful for that bottle. He said seriously. Ah, don't mention that again. I shouted full of shame and anger, it was too embarrassing. Okay, won't mention. Adrian replied, holding back laughter. After my recognition banquet, the Lin family was targeted by the other three major families. Soon declared bankruptcy. After that kick from Ethan, Selena didn't keep the child, because offending the Liang family, she was driven out by her parents. Leo ran abroad again due to heartbreak. Hearing this, I sighed, didn't expect him to be quite infatuated. What's the use of infatuation, need to have brains, can't even see the people around clearly, deserves to be hurt. Adrian looked disdainful. I stared at him. I'm definitely not talking about you, wife, it's all that scum Ethan being too scheming, and my wife being so pure and kind, accidentally deceived. Adrian reacted quickly, full of survival instinct. I snorted coldly. Wife, I was wrong. I should have confessed earlier, made the Lin family bankrupt earlier, shouldn't have given Ethan a chance to approach you. That's more like it. Nearby, Adrian's secretary had a wonderful expression. Is this still our cold-faced president? At our daughter's 100-day celebration, our family went to the hotel to celebrate. Just entering the lobby manager came up, seeing clearly, I was stunned. Ethan? He had a professional smile, but couldn't hide his fatigue, slightly bowing, looking respectful. He was also stunned seeing me. Arya? Adrian blocked in front of me, coldly saying, Manager Ethan, may I ask how to get to the Haiyan Hall? A trace of humiliation flashed on Ethan's face. Before he spoke, the nearby waiter took over. Sir, this way, I'll lead you. Adrian hugged me past him, warning me with jealousy, don't look at other men. Just arriving at Haiyan Hall, we were attracted by nearby noise. Slut, I let you seduce my husband. A woman dressed as a noble lady was with her relatives pressing a young woman to the ground and beating her. The young woman looked up for help to the pot-bellied man nearby. The man weakly looked at the noble woman. Stop hitting, stop. Glared at by the woman, he obediently stood aside, not daring to speak more. The woman's screams soon attracted staff. After the noble woman was pulled away, I saw the woman's face. Selena? Today is really a good day, all encounters are old acquaintances. Adrian forcibly turned my head from watching the spectacle, his voice full of possessiveness. Don't look at other women either. I was speechless and laughed, kissed his hand, deciding to love him well in the future, lest he be so insecure. After the banquet ended and we returned home, Adrian focused on coaxing the child. Looking at him, I said dissatisfied, Mia, this name sounds like it wasn't chosen with care. Today at the table, no one praised the name as nice. I think it's very nice, Mia, sounds like she'll grow strong. Adrian teased the child, not lifting his head. I suddenly felt angry, sulking, then have a son later. After saying, I regretted a bit, because Adrian lifted his head, walked toward me, eyes flashing with desire. Okay, then when to have? I swallowed, turned to escape, but he pulled me, confining me in his arms, warm breath on my face. Arya, I've waited for this day for so long. I felt the room temperature rise. He adjusted my face to face him directly, lips slowly descending. I unconsciously closed my eyes. Oh dear, I saw nothing. Continue. Little Mia, tonight sleep with Grandma. Mom and Dad are going to make you a little brother. I saw my mom pop out from somewhere, passing us without glancing, picked up the child from the stroller, and quickly flashed out. I looked at Adrian in shock. He smiled slightly. Let's continue. Saying that, he picked me up, walked into the bedroom, locked the door, threw me on the bed, and pressed down. Last time, you led, this time, I will. Yes, because of pregnancy, this was our second time. Unexpectedly, Adrian has such good stamina. After who knows how long, I looked lifelessly at the swaying crystal chandelier on the ceiling. Every time I called stop, he complained dissatisfied, that time you ravaged me all night. If I had known today, that night a year ago I would have been gentler.